Right, so I've had a good few hours on this export monitor, and I'm fairly happy with where I've got to. It's good enough for me to now put it together and have a good listen to it. Crudely, I'm within from 200 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I'm plus minus 2 to 2.5 dB with a reasonable dip in the middle that I like, just to take out that shoutiness. So on the ribbon tweeter, I've ended up with a third order arrangement with a couple of resistors in front, and the mid range I've ended up with a second order on the low pass and a first order on the high pass, and on the woofer a third order. So yeah, it's been a lot of mucking around. The mid range had a fairly nasty lump in it that I might still have to get rid of with a notch filter. I've certainly managed to soften it out by the way I've or the components I've chosen and how I'm rolling things off. But yeah, crudely, I'm handing off from the woofer to the mid range at about 600 hertz, maybe a bit higher actually, maybe 700. And then I'm handing from the mid to the tweeter at about 5,000, 6,000. So it's worked out really, really well. Like I say, I won't do wobbly cam on the screen. I will put the screenshots up. But yeah, I think, like I say, it's at a point now where I can assemble it, listen to it, and go from there. Right, so I can wind my own inductors. I might have shown you this before. I have a winding machine there and a load of bobbins in there and lots of laminated wire in there. So I do wind my own inductors from time to time. It's something I've started doing, but it is a faff. So I've just bought the inductors for my export monitors, but these need to be 1.96 millihenry, and the closest to that is 2.2. So I've had to unwind them all, test them. I've also had to unwind some 0.68 to get 0.6 and some 1 millihenries to get 0.9. So yeah, it's a bit of a faff having to do that, but yeah, winding your own is also a faff, but it's handy for really unique values. Right, let's get these crossovers laid out. Right, okay. You have to get your inductors laid out properly, otherwise the inductor police come and arrest you if you don't orientate them right. So 2 on the woofer circuit. So I want to keep those different so they don't cross talk. So then I've got 1 on the mid circuit, which is the first order low pass. So I'll probably have you like that, and the 1 in shunt for the high pass will probably have to go that way round. They're in 2 different sections of the crossover and in very different critical signal path, and this one's in shunt, so I'm not too worried about that being same orientation as that. And then our tweeter inductor, which is teeny tiny can go probably like that. Again, that's in shunt. I might even put it flat, might be better that way. We're in two different bands completely here, so something like that. And then we'll have our cap for our mid circuit, possibly. Probably our capacitor for our woofer circuit in there. Actually, that'll probably be there because I've got a couple of resistors to get in there. And then my two caps for the tweeter circuit. So something like that. Right, okay, so that's one board laid out. So that's how I'm going to do them. So we're going to come in here. So we can pick up this inductor, out to our woofer with our 50 down to ground, and then we're going to come through two 10 ohm resistors to make a 4.7 is what I measured when I was doing my crossover design. That's what I used, but there's probably a lot of resistance in those jumper wires, so that'll work well. So these all 210 watts will give us some decent power handling in the mid circuit. Into our 22 microfarad, into our 0.6 out to our mid-range with this inductor grounding out our capacitor, making second order and first order. And then we'll carry on through a 1.5 ohm resistor into our 1.5 microfarad cap, through our 1 microfarad cap out to our tweeter with an inductor down to ground. So yeah, that's basically it. That's where our positive's coming in, so we'll pick up the resistor to the tweeter, the two resistors that are in parallel for the mid, and our woofer inductor. So, yes, there we go. It's sometimes a bit tricky. Okay, so that'll be out to our woofer positive. So inductor with our caps down to ground, which we'll deal with later. Right, so two resistors, picking up our 22 microfarad cap on our mid circuit. And on our tweeter, through the 1.5 ohm resistor at the bottom, into our 1.5 microfarad cap. There's the other one I did earlier. And then we come through this cap, pick up our 1 microfarad cap, and in between those also our inductor for the tweeter circuit. So third order on that. And then here we go out to our tweeter. So So the tricky part is picking up some of these grounds, and also on the inductor the legs are really short on the mid circuit, so that won't reach. That will just about reach. So that does reach to a degree, so we can kind of get the lot soldered together. There we go. It's not too bad in the end, is it? Right. So capacitor. So that there is our mid positive. So we'll come in through there and pick up that little tail. There's more than enough on there. So we've got to pick up some grounds now. And I can only go so far with these until I get the other wires through from the drivers to solder those up as well. Where's my black cable gone? Here it is. Get some hot glue on the go as well to tidy these down. So really, I think point to point is definitely the best way of doing it. It might not look particularly neat underneath, but you know, your solder connections aren't to a circuit board trace and then off to another soldered connection to a component. It's one soldered connection between components, so it's got to be the best way of doing it. Might not be the neatest, but it is the best. Right, so we'll come along here, cut you there. This is a godsend. So then we'll come across from here, and at the moment I'll just leave that there because we're going to have our negative input, tweeter negative, mid negative, woofer negative, that will all join together here. So at the moment I will leave that there. Right, okay, so there we go. That's the back. Yeah, kind of about as neat as you can get it really. And there's our board at the front. All looking good. Spot on. Right, so everything that hasn't got a wire to be soldered to it has now been hot glued. So that encapsulates all the solder joints. And yeah, I think it sort of neatens it up really. Also protects them. Keeps them more stable. So yeah, so I've got the positive to wrap around there and solder up, the tweeter positive to pick up on that cap, the mid-range to pick up on that, the woofer positive to pick up on that, and all of our grounds will pick up here. So negative in, tweeter negative, mid negative, and woofer negative. So there'll be a little clump there, but I'll do that as neatly as I can. So yeah, done. Right, so I've screwed on the crossover board. That's where that's going to go, nice and sturdy. I need to change the wires on the woofer because they're not long enough, and the cables for the tweeter are fine. They're going over that side, so so that's okay. The mid, just about. I used some extension wires while I was doing the crossover work. So let's have a bit of a sort out here. Really and truly, I should have put the cables on the crossover. That's what I normally do. Yeah, it's going to be tight. That's going to be all right. Yeah. Okay. They'll live to fight another day. Right. Let's take this board off again. Yeah, I'm making work for myself also by not having the input cables pre-soldered to this board. So we'll correct that. Right, that's our positive in. Nice. So we'll do our tweet around here next. So all our drivers ended up being connected in phase. Let's get some glue on the go as well. Okay, good. Let's do our woofer positive as well. This might be a bit tricky because this wire's laminated. So I'll just clean that off. Perfect. Right, is this hot enough yet? Yep. Beautiful. It's raining outside again, if you can hear that on my roof. Beautiful. Right, so the tricky thing now is going to be getting all these grounds in. So I've got one here which is going to be our input. I've got one here which is coming from our tweeter, and also one here which is tight, which is coming from our mid. So it's going to get a little bit busy there, and and our woofer as well. Bloody hell. So then I can use that bit there to do these, hopefully. So let's make that a bit longer. It's looking good. Okay, yeah, everything's connected. Might not look the prettiest thing in the world, but it is all good. Right, while I'm waiting for the glue to heat up again, let's do positive for our mid-range. Right, there we go. Lovely. Right, let's get those on the woofer. Idea. Right, okay, so that one's done, ready to go in. So I'm going to leave that video there, and next video we'll shoot all the final measurements and have a listen to them. Right, thanks for watching. Sorry it's been yet another crossover video and build, but hey, there's only so much you can do with a speaker. Alright guys, cheers. Oh, like and subscribe and all that crap.